Thank you, Allison. So welcome everybody to our first and hopefully only virtual graduation celebration. It should be a nice event. And before I say anything else, I want to thank all four of the advisors. They all put a lot of work in putting this together. So thanks to them. We wouldn't have this if it weren't for them. They did an awesome job. They really wanted to recognize the graduates, and so they all pulled together and put this event together for you. But the real reason for the celebration, of course, is you guys, the students. This marks the completion of a very important part of your life, where you're coming to the end of completing that college degree. And it represents a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of perseverance on the parts of all of you to reach this point where you're just about ready to complete your degree and go and become a college graduate. So I just want to say congratulations to all of you. You all have done a great job. You've all worked very hard, and this is a very big accomplishment that we're celebrating tonight.
Okay, I think that makes it my turn. My name is Felicia Kilworth. I'm one of the other SSS advisors. I am pulling up my notes. One second here. So I want to introduce our keynote speaker for the evening. His name is Sean Stone. He graduated from the University of Wyoming with a self-designed Bachelor of Arts in Playwriting and Music Composition in 2004, and then went on to earn his MFA in Musical Theater Writing from New York University in 2006. He wrote a musical. His first one was Good Morning Athens, which I had the pleasure of seeing once. Won several awards at the Kennedy Center in 2004, including the Mark Twain Prize for Comedy, the National Student Playwriting Award, and Kennedy Center Awards for Best Book, Best Lyrics, and Best Score. His musicals have been performed at the Kennedy Center, Lincoln Center, Weston Playhouse, and several off-Broadway theaters. He's written and composed 6 musicals and 2 ballet scores, and he currently teaches musical theater performance here at the University of Wyoming. So without further ado, my friend Sean Stone.
Thank you guys. I'm really glad to be here. That is the worst headshot of me ever, Felicia. I know exactly where you got that off the theater and dance website, but I was like, oh, my ears have never looked bigger. I was really happy to speak to you guys when Felicia asked me to do this. I've never done a keynote address before, so I actually even skipped all of my graduations. Well, I got kicked out of my high school graduation because I was drinking when I was 18. But then I skipped my UW graduation because I'd gotten a job and was already working at the time. And I skipped my NYU graduation because by the time I graduated grad school, I couldn't afford the like $160 for cap and gown. So I've actually never even attended a graduation or seen a commencement speech. So I hope this is how they're supposed to go. I was especially interested in this when Felicia told me about the group of students specifically that I'd be addressing through Student Success Services. Because I've known Felicia for a really long time. I've known Felicia for probably close to 25 years now. I have known each other for a while. And so Felicia knows that I had, when I was your guys' age, when I was in my 20s, the age that all you guys are who are graduating, that I had a very unconventional and difficult time getting into school, getting through school, and just kind of starting my life in the way that I wanted to. And so Felicia thought that I would have some hopefully interesting, thoughtful, insightful things to share with you guys about my own experiences. And I hope that there's something useful that you guys can get out of this. This is what Felicia told me, that Student Success Services specifically help students who have an unconventional, non-traditional path to school, that a lot of you guys are first generation college students, and that you sometimes aren't getting enough support from your parents, or your parents, because they haven't gone through this themselves, don't know how to give you the kind of support that you need. You know, they can't offer what they don't know. It is what it is. But I look at my obstacles differently because I started my life with a whole lot of privileges, you know, from really, really early on, especially in terms of education in school. I find myself in the position to understand the difference between support and not having support just through the experience of having it and then having lost it. As a young child, I was a very prodigious child. I was in training to be a concert pianist. I was fluent in arts and music theater. I performed in all kinds of things. As a teenager, I was making albums under a Christian music label, so I had kind of a lot of things set up for me, before I was even out of high school in terms of building what I thought would be my future career. Both my parents have MFA degrees. They're both professional artists, and they were both supportive of my pursuits in music and theater, not just in school, but as a career. I attended elementary schools and high schools for gifted and talented students. My childhood development, everything about it was A+. Everything that was supposed to happen happened the way it was supposed to. Everything that you would want to be handed to you, I totally got. I was a really smart kid. And in a lot of ways, I think that my upbringing was ideal. It certainly positioned me to do a lot of the things that I wanted to do. As a teenager, I started to get chronically ill. I don't want to talk about a whole lot right now, but that'll be important in a little bit, that I had these mystery illnesses start showing up that nobody could really know what they were. But still, out of high school, I got accepted into NYU as a musical theater performance student, so, right out of the bat, I was looking at, what I thought would be happily ever after. But that all changed as I was getting ready to graduate high school. I knew I had some personal things that I had to deal with. And so I came out to my friends and my family as gay. This is back in the mid 90s. We looked at it very differently 25 years ago, culturally, societally. It was a different thing, the process of coming out. And in the 90s, I grew up in a very conservative Mormon community. And in the 90s, it was very trendy for Mormon parents to cut their gay kids off when they came out as a way to try and scare them into being straight. So I went from all of these schools and all the support and getting ready to go to NYU to having nothing. In order to protect my younger siblings, my parents forbade me from being at home or from seeing my younger siblings. I had these mystery illnesses that were happening, but I was cut off from my parents and my family. So all of a sudden I found that not only did I have no home and no money, but I had no health care and no way to take care of myself. I had to cancel my plans to go to NYU because the support for that was gone as well. And I ended up enrolling in Casper College for one disastrous year before I flunked out of basically everything. Emotionally and mentally over the course of the next year or so, I was kind of grinding to a halt. Along with coming out as gay, I had people telling me that I was bad or that this was a mental illness or that other people had to be protected from me somehow, or that this was something wrong or perverse, that if I continued in this way that I would be shunned from society, that I wouldn't be able to get a respectable job, on and on and on. My parents were artists. I don't know why they thought that there would be no gay people in the art, that was going to somehow prevent me from getting a job in theater, whatever. They were probably just trying to scare me back into straightness. But in addition to all this mental and emotional stuff, I just kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And so for about 5 years after I graduated high school, I kind of sat around and did nothing except get sicker. And it was during this period of time that I actually met Felicia, after I was kind of on my own in this period in the 90s. And the illnesses were getting really, really bad, you guys. I was tired and no energy, and it wasn't just lethargic. Like, I had big chunks of skin that would peel off in pieces like plastic. I was constantly in the hospital with kidney stones, with all kinds of hospitalizations, mystery stuff, It wasn't until I was 29 that they were going to find out that it was lymphoma that I'd had since I was a teenager. Well, I'll get to that later. But it was for me monumental to just, I remember being stunned for like years, just kind of sitting around being like, how did this happen? How did I go from like everything I thought I would want to be totally within my grasp and have it just gone, And even with that, the abilities to experience that comes with privilege. If you have had support, you know what it is you're missing when it's taken away. And so you know what it is, the thing you're looking for that you want to get back. If you've never had it in the first place, it's a lot harder to even try and find that thing that you've never had that you think will be so helpful to you. You know what I mean? Now, while all this was happening, I had people from, my old life, peers from school, family, friends, who were well-meaning but had no perspective, trying to tell me that these are things that I could just get over, that my parents might not be right, but I should just not dwell on the past and just move forward. Or this was always my favorite one, just do what I do and blah, 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 blah. And because that's never useful and it's never helpful. But, you know, it comes from a well-meaning place. But I had to reconcile myself with the idea that in my own past, my parents were the people that had told me everything, that they had taught me, they helped me to grow, they warned me of dangers, and they were the people that removed obstacles from my path when they showed up. So when they passed judgment, it stuck. Even if I didn't agree with them mentally, even if I knew it was wrong emotionally, you know, the fact that judgment is coming, it has a lot of impact, and it's not always possible to avoid. My personal evolution in the past up to this point had depended to some extent on an agreement with my parents, with the familial experts who raised me. You know, that's how you survive, that's how you grow, that's how you get to a point that you are. And it takes a lot of mental gymnastics to try and unlearn that. And so for me, unlearning that was the first big lesson that I had to kind of wrap my head around in terms of overcoming my own personal obstacles. The big lesson that the judgments and the opinions of others do not need to become your truth, you know? And it's a thing that will continue through wherever you go in your life. It's a thing that will always continue to be true. Judgments will come at you from people, some of them well-meaning, some of them not well-meaning. But the judgments that come at you, you can choose to internalize or not. Especially when it comes from the people who know you, who have known you for a long time, the people who raised you or watched your development, that think they understand what the limits of your capabilities are based on their own observations of you and based on what they've seen of you. It's never true, you guys. That's a big lie, especially at your age. You know, you all are, I'm assuming most of you are in your 20s, you know, you are not anywhere near done growing or learning or developing. Even if you're leaving school now, you know, your degree is not at all the completion of the knowledge that you will have or the skills that you will. There is no limit to that, you know. Just because you're done with school, the learning doesn't end. Your skills do not limit your understanding. This is at your age in your 20s, just the beginning of becoming the person that you're going to someday be. You're all way too early on this path to let anyone else's summary judgment of you decide what you can or cannot do. And I just hope you guys learn that now, because for me, that was a lesson that was hard to learn and that came really, really late. But if you can get it now, it's something, excuse me, it's something that will be really, really liberating. What you are, what you can or cannot do is not yet decided, and it won't be decided by anyone except for yourself when you are ready to make that decision for yourself. Because the bottom line, excuse me, the bottom line is that here are the limits of what you can and can't do, and should and shouldn't do. The limits are that it's up to you. You know, and I think for all of you, especially if you have difficulty coming through to school, and if you've needed extra support for graduating, then the fact that you are here graduating is proof to that in some extent. You know, if your actions were to rely on the support that you didn't receive, you wouldn't be here, but yet here you are, you know. Others do not think your thoughts for you or decide what needs doing, you do. They're not going to read the books that you read or learn what you learned. You did that. And the career that you're choosing and setting yourself up for as a result of your education and schooling, the naysayers didn't do your homework. They didn't pay your tuition, you know. No one can learn this for you. No one can think it for you. No one gets to tell you what you can and can't do with any of this stuff, unless you allow it. And don't get me wrong, you can allow that. That is also up to you. If you want to allow other people to set these limitations for you, that's a choice that you can do, but it's all up to you. That's the practical reality. Once you leave school, you don't have advisors or teachers telling you this stuff. You're the person who gets to be telling you this stuff. And every decision that you make is ultimately your own. I think that's the biggest part of adulting, is just being the one who tells yourself what to do and letting those things that you tell yourself lead you down the path that you want to get to. That's the hard part about adulting. You choose the path to pursue. Even when you're in a position when someone is giving you orders, you can always say no to them. That's a choice. People will always try to define you, and it's your choice to defy their expectations or not. It's all up to you. I will tell you this, though, that the people who will tell you that you cannot or will not succeed have the easy task. It's a lot easier to tell someone they can't than to watch them can, you know? And so that, for me, was part of that big lesson about not letting other people's judgments or opinions become my own personal truth. And once I realized that, the other realization with that is that I can stay where I am forever, you know, in this place of awfulness, or not, you know, I can stay wounded and victimized, and I can make that into my identity as I was told that I should, or I can choose something that I want for myself rather than being stuck with some fate that somebody else was comfortable boxing me into. And to be honest, the thing that motivated me most at the point in my life when things were the worst was that I kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker. I had no health insurance and I couldn't get any because I was not at the age where, you know, I was completely away from that umbrella of my parents. So the cycle that I found myself in was waiting until things got bad enough that I would go into the emergency room, where they'd have no idea what was wrong for me, but they'd keep me comfortable until whatever symptoms I was experiencing passed, and then release me back into my natural habitat, you know? So with physical illness running rampant, with my support system gone, with mental and emotional distress, I was at a low point, and I did stay there for a few years. The advantage of things getting that bad is that I developed a serious case of the fuck-it. And adversity became the thing that was friction for me to rub myself against to get myself moving, you know? A little bit of friction can actually generate the heat that you need to get your engine going. It's not all bad to have obstacles. Those are the things that will make you stronger. Those are the things that you can overcome as you're moving forward. So I finally got to the point where I had this realization that if feeling poorly was something that was going to stop me from doing the things with my life that I wanted to do, that I was going to be not doing those things forever. So I, you know, at the age of, well, let's see, I took 5 years off of high school, after high school. So by the age of 24, I was 23 or 24, I re-enrolled myself in UW as a musical theater major. So I was, and when I came in as a freshman, older than everyone else in my department. I was the age of the seniors who were graduating. And it was while I was at this period of reinvesting and taking myself back to school as a musical theater major. I actually remember specifically what it was. We were doing Guys and Dolls, and I had already been in this show like 3 times, and I was like, I have to be in Guys and Dolls again. I'm seriously gonna hurt somebody. I don't want to do this. This is what the school is making me do. Okay, we'll do Guys and Dolls. Yay, sing it down. And I got so sick of doing these same cheesy lame-ass musicals over and over and over and over that I was like, you know, I just screw this. I'll get with my friends, we'll sit down, we'll write some songs, and we'll come up with something different, you know? And it was through just getting sick of the things that I thought I was supposed to do that I discovered that I had this awesome talent that I didn't even know I had, that I was really good at something that I'd never even tried before. And that's where I started to learn about the advantages of my disadvantages. You know, when I showed up at school 5 years older than everybody else, I was stronger than everyone. I was more independent than everyone. I was adultier than everyone else I was going to school with, you know. I was more prepared because no one else had been doing my preparation. I already had got to the point where I had to, you know, manage my own life or sink. So when it comes to just kind of like the basic how to adult and how to function in the world, I found myself a step ahead. And when I got to NYU, and I finally did actually make it to NYU, when I wasn't able to accept after high school, the show that I wrote when I was here at UW as a senior with my friends, you know, just to try and do something that wasn't Guys and Dolls, that ended up being the musical that after a couple of revisions went to the Kennedy Center. I'm proud to say that at that, when it went to the Kennedy Center, the year it was there, and I think I still hold this record, it broke the record for the number of awards that went to a single musical that they produced that year. I won 5 of their major awards, and I don't think, that was in 2004, and I don't think to this point anyone has broken that. I'm not sure, I'll have to go back and check. I haven't looked for a few years. But when it was writing that musical and getting that show produced at the Kennedy Center that got me re-enrolled, what is this now, 10 years later, finally into NYU. I got to go 10 years later do the thing that I thought I would be able to do right out of high school. And when I got to NYU, finally, I discovered again that my disadvantages were advantages. Everybody else in my class was a bunch of kids who had gone straight out of private high schools into Ivy League undergrads and were coming to NYU at the age of 21 or 22, and they had no life. They had no experience. You know, we're in a program for writing musicals, and these kids didn't have anything to write about because they hadn't ever done anything. And I did not have that problem. I had plenty of things to say. I still have plenty of things to say. Things to say has never been the thing that I don't have a lot of. I have tons to say. And when I was at NYU finally, I found an outlet to put these things. I excelled because I didn't need anyone else to drive me. I didn't need anyone else to push me. I was not on my own for the first time. That became even more true after I graduated NYU and started working in New York in the theater world, is that the people who work are the people who don't need a boss. The bosses want to hire someone who they don't have to tell what to do. You know, all things being equal, if you're a boss, are you going to want to hire the person that you have to micromanage every step they take and every decision they make? Or do you want to hire the person who you can just turn loose and let them do their thing, you know? By forced to be independent, by forcing to become stronger, by forcing myself to thrive through my disadvantages, you know, you come out on the other side of that stronger. And it was through these successes that I discovered that big lesson that I learned, that it's important not to let other people, you know, determine who you are, that the opinions and judgments of other people don't matter, that is also equally true when other people are saying good things. It is also true of the cheerleaders. Because someone tells you you are good does not give you your inherent value. And that, I think, is something that's surprising, especially for those of us who have been without support in a lot of ways. Because when that support finally comes, it's such a relief, you know, finally, a support system. This is what I've been looking for. It alleviates so much pressure. It can remove some of that burden, you know. A support system can be really rewarding and is an essential part of having a successful life. For most people, I think that comes from your family first. For those of us who don't have that support in our families, that lack of support can create a hole that needs to be filled. A void, that presence that is always tugging at something, that is falsely reminding that you are inadequate somehow. And cheerleaders fill that void. But because someone is telling you that you're good, that validation is just as misleading sometimes as someone telling you that you're bad. And Felicia was actually, when I met her way back in the day in the 90s, was one of the people who really changed the way that I think about my life. I was at some sort of, you know, early 20s crisis. I don't even remember what it was, Felicia. I don't know if you remember this either. But I was in some sort of crisis about what I should do about something, you know, and you were trying to give me advice and you were saying, well, then you should do this and do this. And I was being very obstinate. It was like, but I can't do that because of X, Y, and Z. And you'd be like, okay, well then do X, Y, and Z. And I'd be like, well, I can't because of A, B, and C. And I remember, Felicia, you just looked at me and went, look, whatever it is that you want to do, we will support you because we love you and we're your friends. And that's what we do, you know? And so it was from that conversation that I learned that it was just as dangerous to try and pursue the people pleasing as it was to avoid the damnation. You know what I mean? The support system you need is people who will see you for who you are, that will recognize you for what it is you want to do for yourself, for your own merits, for your own benefit, and will support that without an agenda from themselves, but will support you because friends support each other, and that's what they do. And so as you're building a support system in your lives, and I'm sure that you have wonderful advisors here that have helped you start to build what that support system should look like in your life. As you go forward, you know, as much as you want to avoid the haters are going to hate, you also want to avoid the yes men, the people who will just blindly give you that support. It's flip sides of the same coin, but those flip sides are the same lesson. There is a difference between people supporting you for what you're choosing to do for yourself and supporting you for fulfilling what you think you should do. You know, the downside of that also is that feeling the support and enjoying it can turn into the need to be supported, which can turn into people pleasing. Just so that support that we so crave is not removed and we're not deprived of it again. When someone judges you poorly, it's easy to dismiss. When someone judges you well, it's also important to learn that that can be dismissed. It's up to you to determine what your purpose is. And it's also up to you to determine if you're fulfilling it or not. You are not your obstacles. I shouldn't say you, I should talk about myself. I am not my obstacles. And I learned through time and through some difficulty not to be defined by my obstacles. What I learned is that obstacles are here to be overcome. You know, and by being here, I'd imagine that several of you have already defied the lesser expectations that were placed on you, you know, and the more you do it, the easier that gets. If you don't have the support to come through school and graduate and get a degree, by being here, you are already not fitting into the box that would confine you. And that's awesome. That's fantastic. You have already proved that you can defy expectations and exceed expectations. And once you've proved that, it gets easier to prove that again and again and again. The challenge as you go forward without the advisors from school and without the support system that you've garnered for yourself here is to keep on doing it. So I guess if I could leave you with anything, it would be, always be aware that you determine your own limits, if there are any, but that's not ever something that you have to accept from anyone else. When you have an obstacle, it's there to be overcome, It gets a lot more obtuse. It gets a lot more broad once you leave here and you don't have a curriculum and a checklist of classes and a checklist of degrees. And the idea that someone hands you a list of things that you're supposed to do and you check those off kind of goes away. And at first, that's a little bit scary, but ultimately, it's a really, really, really good thing. Don't ever let yourself be defined as a person who comes from disadvantage. You are not a person who comes from disadvantage. You are a person who has learned to thrive because of obstacles in your way, From here, the only path is up. The only thing you can do from here is climb higher, And you guys are graduating at a really, really odd time in the world, Congratulations, graduate, go out in the world, except for stay home and don't, you know what I mean? But this is just one more obstacle in the way. It is a temporary thing and it will pass, like all obstacles do, like all problems will. It will all recede behind you, Never let these things be the walls that you beat your head against. These are the walls that you climb over. So graduating class of 2021, I hope I've been able to talk to you in a way that you hear and can accept, and I hope this has been useful for you. I really applaud your efforts and your work. And like all of your teachers, I'm sure the most thing about watching our graduating students is seeing the awesome, awesome things you will do once you are released into the world. Congratulations, graduating class. Thank you.
I'll give a out loud clap. Thank you, Sean, for presenting tonight. I see some popping up in the chat saying thank you as well. So we are going to jump back into our presentation. Thank you again, Sean. You really got me thinking about the obstacle of this last year. And we commend all of you students for the excellent work that you've put in. We know it's been hard, and each of you have overcome your own challenges. And so now, if I'm on the right screen here, we are going to move into our graduate highlights. So as Sean said, learning and growing doesn't stop here. In fact, we've been preparing you for this since you entered the program. And now we've reached the point that we've been working for this whole time, your graduation. So it is an SSS tradition for us advisors to give our students a word, something that describes you or your journey, and hopefully something that will guide you through whatever comes next. So with that, we are going to move into highlighting each one of our graduating students. You can see the list of presenters here, so that might give you an idea of when you will be highlighted as well. At this time, we will open it up to our graduates to say a few words after your advisor presents. So feel free to unmute yourself. And of course, we encourage you to be active in the chat. So we will start with Paul.
Thank you, Allison. I only have one graduate this year. I generally have a small caseload, but so Michael Welniak is graduating this year with his BGS in General Studies. And what's really impressed me most about you, Michael, is your determination that you were going to get your degree and you're going to tackle any obstacle in the way. You were determined that you were going to come out of here with a college degree. So congratulations, Michael.
Thank you, Paul, and thanks for everybody at Student Success Service. It means a lot to me.
Congrats, Michael. Okay, I'm up next. I have a ton of graduates this year, Some of you are graduating in May, some of you are graduating in August, and some in December, and we are here to celebrate you all. So let's get started. First up, I have Miss Brianna Drew, who is graduating with her BA in art. Bree, your word is innovative. You are so talented and always finding new approaches to problems, and you are state of the art. Is Bree here? Does she want to say anything? Nope. You'll have a chance at the end too. Okay, next I'd like to recognize Nicholas Fenton. Nick is graduating with his BA in elementary education. Nick, your word is powerful, purposeful, purposeful. From the day I met you, Nick, you have had a grand plan, and it has been a joy to watch it play out. You are determined and full of purpose. Congrats. I don't think Nick's here. Okay, Miss Hannah Good. Hannah is graduating with her BS in psychology and has a minor in family and human development. Hannah, your word is intentional. You are very driven and calculated in the way you've approached your goals. You are thoughtful and you have acted with great purpose and intention. Congrats. I don't think she's here either. If you're here and I don't call on you, just speak up. Okay, next is Jared Grant. Jared is graduating with his BS in physics and minors in mathematics and honors. Jared, your word is visionary. You have had a vision for your life, and that has driven you through your success. You have great foresight, and every action you make is towards making your dreams into a reality. Congrats. All right, Carlos, I know you're here. Carlos is graduating with his BA in communication. Carlos, your word is unshakable. You have been unwavering in your pursuit for success. You have overcome every obstacle, especially those you faced in this last year, with a firm path forward. Congrats, Carlos.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Allison.
Thanks. So good to see you. Congrats.
Thank you.
Okay, Ethan, I know you're here too. Ethan is graduating with his BS in communication. And Ethan, your word is focused, because you have kept your dreams in sight since you started, and you have never failed to remain focused on the end goal of graduating, and you finally made it. Congrats.
I guess that's one thing you could say about it. I suppose I'll just thank you for all your work and availability and the resources that were made available to me. Allison was a great advisor throughout the whole process, even perhaps maybe not a whole lot was said at times because I didn't know what I wanted personally, but yeah.
Yeah, we worked through it and we got you here. Congrats, Ethan. Okay, next up is Austin Perry. Austin is getting his BS in communication. And Austin, your word is determined, because you have been purposeful and serious about your goals throughout your academic journey. And this has helped you continue in your success, all because of your determination. Congrats. All right, Vic, I know you're here. Vic Pamilio will be graduating with their BS in psychology and a minor in philosophy. Vic, your word is catalyst. Your energy and enthusiasm is contagious. You are transformative and accomplished, and it has been such a joy to watch you grow. You are a change maker. Congrats.
I think I just want to say thank you to all of you guys and Allison specifically, but everybody at SSS has been great over the past 4 years. So thank you.
Thanks. Congrats, Vic. Okay, next up is Laura Reich, who will be getting her BA in criminal justice. Laura, your word is steadfast. You are steady in your purpose, both now and in the future. You are reliable and dependable, both as a student and as a student employee. We have loved having you around the office. Your perseverance is inspiring. Congrats, Laura. All right, Corey, I know you're here too. Corey Rogers is getting his BA in elementary education. And Corey, your word is resourceful. Corey, you have been able to adapt to any situation and overcome all of your challenges. And I know this last year has been difficult, but you have been creative and very clever in problem solving, which has aided in your success. Congrats, Corey.
Thank you, Allison. Wow, what a beard. Oh my God.
This is a throwback to Corey's
Right.
web photo. So
Right. Just want to say thank you, everybody, to SSS. Allison, you have gone to bat for me more than once, girl. You are a true rock star. I appreciate everything you've done for me through my adventure at UW, and you have solid had my back. I appreciate you more than you know.
Thank you, Corey. Congrats. Y'all are going to make me cry. I thought doing this virtual, I was going to get out of crying, but next up is Paul Stuckey, and I know you're here too, Paul. Paul is getting his BS in outdoor recreation and tourism management. Paul, your word is persistent. You have overcome many obstacles in reaching this point, and you have never given up, even when it seemed like all odds were against you. You have persevered to accomplish your goals, and I am so proud to say congrats on your graduation. Want to say? Oh.
Thank you. I was just trying to unmute myself. I appreciate all the support I've gotten from the SSS crew and staff, and especially Allison, because there was definitely times where I was at low points, and well, I almost didn't finish.
But we made it.
But
you made it.
I thought a couple of times about quitting, just going back to work, and but between Allison and numerous friends I have in my network, they were able to talk me out of it and help me be able to be persistent and keep moving forward, like the little train that could. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, Brianna Thompson. Are you here? I don't know if I saw you here. Brianna Thompson is graduating with her BS in entrepreneurship. I can say it, but I can't spell it. She'll also have her minor in decision science. Bree, your word is dynamic. Your energy and positivity affects everything around you. You are powerful and lively in all you do. You are a force to be reckoned with. Congrats, Bee.
Thank you, Allison.
Hi, you are here.
Yeah, it seems like, just yesterday you're tucking me in as a sophomore in high school with Tria. So yeah, it's been awesome. I thank you guys so much, and Felicia and Paul, and thank you.
We're so happy to have seen you from your journey from Upward Bound through SSS. Congrats. Okay, Michaela Wheeler. I know I saw you here. Michaela will have her BA in elementary education. She also has minors in elementary literacy and honors, and will also have her endorsement in English as a second language. Michaela, your word is zealous. Your enthusiasm and diligence is inspiring. You are devoted to your goals and living life fully. You are dedicated to not only teaching, but your life. And you are also very passionate about them as well. Congrats, Michaela.
Thanks, Allison. Not a single bit of this has gone as planned, and I'm starting to learn that that's okay. Thank you so much for being there through like all of the things. You've been a best friend, an amazing advisor, a therapist at times, and I'm gonna miss you the most out of UW.
Gosh, I was not ready for this. Thank goodness you are a December grad, so we get a little bit.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yes. Congrats, Michaela. Okay, next up is Ryland Wood. Ryland will be getting his BA in communication. Ryland, your word is spirited. You are exuberant and you are courageous and lively in pursuit of your goals. You are bold in your path forward and fearless in approaching your life. Congrats, Ryland, on your graduation. There we go. All right, the last of my students this year is Noah Wozni. Noah will be graduating with his BA in mathematics. And Noah, your word is tenacious. You are strong-willed and tough, a little stubborn, but always determined. You are persistent and have faced every challenge and obstacle head on. And that's what got you here. Congrats. I don't think Noah's here. No? Okay. Again, you will all have a chance at the end to say anything else you'd like. And I am going to pass it on to Connor.
Okay, before I get started with my students, I wanted to share because in the chat, Carlos had left a message which I think was intended for the full group. So I wanted to make sure that it made it to the full group. And it says, congratulations on a job well done, everyone. Proud of you all. It's our turn now. And Carlos had to head back to work, but was cheering everybody on moving forward. So you wanted to get that in before moving forward.
Thanks for sharing, Connor.
Okay, so yeah, I'm Connor Novotny, a newer SSS advisor here. And I'm excited to share with you my graduating students this semester. I can say about all three of my students that are graduating, they made me feel right at home in this position. And it was very encouraging and heartening every time I got to meet with them and work with them. And they were also on it, like there wasn't much that I could really do because they were all an impressive bunch. And I just want to thank everybody as a group for easing me into this position and making me feel like I'd been here for years. So great bunch of students. So I'm excited to share with you my students. So my first student is Austin Bell. Okay, so Austin, the word that I chose for you is generous, and this kind of echoes some of the themes that I shared previously. And so just to make sure that I do this properly, I typed up a little bit of words, but I will say that Austin was very present in our meetings. And when I say that, I mean that he brought his whole self to the time that we spent together. And one of the ways that this is expressed was that I asked Austin a question about what he was learning or what he was interested in about mechanical engineering. And he was describing to me this very, in my mind, very complicated aspect about how bullets fly through the air and using an engineering aspect to that. And he took the time and had the patience to explain those things to me in a way that helped me make sense in an area that I struggle with. So yes, this is an echo of Austin's generosity. And Austin, anybody who's working with Austin in the future is a lucky bunch to be either in a relationship or in a work situation with Austin. Is lucky to have him. So Austin, congratulations. If you have anything to share, you're welcome to. Go ahead if you wanted to.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Connor. Yeah, it seems kind of funny to me that you've been my advisor for a year and yet I met you for the first time in person today.
Yeah.
It seems really funny to me. But I just wanted to thank you because every time we met, you were always, it wasn't just, oh, how are things on paper going? It was, how are you doing? Is there anything that you need? It was much more personal and much more caring. So I just really appreciate that a lot.
Thanks, Austin. That's really kind of you. Again, generous man. Good luck, Austin. Okay, my next student is Renelle Hinman, okay? And my word for Renelle is ready, because Renelle was always ready. She was ready for our meetings. She was ready to finish her degree, and not just ready in that she was anticipating those things. She was immediately prepared for all of those things that were happening. And so full confidence that moving forward, Renelle is going to ease into her next role and inspire others in her confidence and in embodying that position, and is definitely a natural leader in those ways. So thank you, Renelle, for working with me these last 2 semesters, and congratulations. If you're here, feel free to share any words. I'm not sure if you are or not. Okay, thanks, Renelle, congratulations. Okay, and then last up I have, I'm presenting Brooke, and Brooke Tucker. And Brooke, my word for you is strong. And there are many connotations with the word strong, right? It's a word we can all project whatever we want to onto it. And so I think that those traditional connotations of being tough and courageous are there. But I also want to say that you are, I identify that you are courageous and also your empathy and your sense of hope. And those for me are really 2 inspiring things that I walked away from each of our meetings with. And I always felt inspired in the way that you embodied those characteristics in your approach to the semester that you faced in the last couple of this whole pandemic thing. So yes, again, I was always inspired. I also want to thank you for bringing Kevin the bird that's present, I believe, in this photo to the meetings. Kevin had a strong aversion to Zoom meetings, and I really appreciated that Kevin felt comfortable expressing that aversion as we were all feeling it deep down. So Brooke, I wish you the best of luck in the future. You're going to do great and amazing things. And thank you for the time we were able to share together in SSS. And I appreciate you, and I'm excited for you. So if you have anything you'd like to share, feel free. Don't want to put you on the spot, but if you'd like to, feel free to unmute and go ahead and share.
Thank you, Connor. And thanks everyone in SSS. I really loved this program. And Kevin's in the other room, but he says thank you as well.
Marvelous. Okay, thank you so much, Brooke, and good luck moving forward. Okay, that's my bunch of students that are graduating upcoming. So thanks again, everybody, and thanks again for making me feel at home. So next up in our presentation is Felicia. Felicia, take it away.
Hello again. So I do have a message for all but one of my graduates before I get going. All but one of you started out with a different advisor, Jamie, who I'm sure you all remember, and he has asked me to pass his congratulations on to all of you and say how proud he is. So I also want to thank all of you that started out with Jamie instead of me, because my first year, I had no clue what I was doing, and you were all incredibly patient with me, especially after having somebody like Jamie who was very well versed in campus and what you need to do and where you need to go. So thank you so much for your patience, all of you. And again, Jamie says congratulations. All right. So I believe my first one is Rakad. Okay. So Rakad, if you submitted a picture, it might have been at the last minute, so I substituted a picture in for you. I hope that you like it. I tried to find something that represented you as a future architectural engineer. But my word for you is relentless. You have really persevered through some super duper obstacles the last year and a half, I would say. And no matter how the odds might have been stacked against you, you pushed through and did what you needed to do, and you were successful in that. So you're so close. Technically, Rakad's graduating in the fall, and I know it's going to happen. I'm so excited for her. So Rakad, I think I saw you in here. If you want to say anything, please feel free.
Yeah, I tried like posting earlier, but then it didn't let me in with passwords and stuff. It got weird with the Gmail stuff.
No worries.
But yeah, I would say like never give up for your dreams and so on. Yeah, maybe you should edit it maybe for later, I guess.
Okay.
That's all. Because this kind of looks, this is interesting. I don't know, but thanks.
You're welcome. I'll get a real picture of you later and put it in before we post it on our social media, okay?
Sure.
Okay. Next, Victoria. Victoria is graduating with her BS in entrepreneurship, which I also have a difficult time spelling, Allison. I had to check it a few times, and a minor in Spanish. Victoria is also graduating in the fall. Her currently plans to possibly, I know had mentioned moving to Oregon or something and possibly going on to grad school. Excited to graduate and getting into the working world, I think right away though. My word for Victoria is industrious. Victoria is so focused and knows exactly what she needs to do and when she needs to do it. I think has even corrected me on a few times when I've projected what classes she still needs to graduate. Again, thank you for your patience as I learned my job. But has always just been like, when you picture somebody, a woman working in the business world, I picture Victoria. I know she's going to be super successful. So, Victoria, is there anything that you want to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone in the SSS department. And yeah, I was one of those students who had the privilege of working with both Jamie and Felicia. And although that transition was a little unexpected, I'm so grateful for Felicia and her pursuit in finding all those answers that I asked of her. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. Okay, Demi. So Demi is finishing her bachelor's degree in art, specifically graphic design was her concentration. She is planning on moving to Billings. I think that's still the plan, and pursuing work that will let her use her creativity, which links directly to the word I chose for her, which is creativity. I've always known Demi was talented with her work. She's actually done some work for us in SSS with putting like documents and things together for us. Very recently, and I can't believe it took me 2 years of working with you to see your website, but I got to see your website and your Instagram page, and sorry, you're so talented, Demi. And it was beautiful, and I cannot wait to see what you do, and I hope that you keep up with us and keep helping us do graphic designing that we are not nearly as talented at as you are. So congratulations, Demi.
Thank you, Felicia. And thanks everyone for all the opportunities. I really liked working with you guys and doing graphic design stuff, and it's been a privilege to work with you, Felicia.
Okay, Nicole. So Nicole is getting 2 degrees in English and history, and is in the honors program for her minor. Nicole, the word I chose for you is knowledgeable. And I think you actually even kind of talk about this in the personal statement that you sent us, which I thought was hilarious, because you said exactly what I had been thinking about you, is that Nicole is always prepared for everything. I always enjoyed my meetings with Nicole, but I always felt and a little bit useless, and I do not mean that in a bad way whatsoever, because it was a relief sometimes to have somebody who totally was ready for whatever got thrown at her and needed very little help from me. So Nicole, that is my word for you. Do you have anything that you want to say?
Well, I guess I just want to say thank you. I know you've said that before, that you felt, that you couldn't always help me, but I appreciated the fact that I always had SSS to fall back on in case I did ever need any help, which I think is pretty useful in my situation, regardless of how prepared I am or not.
Well, you rocked it, so congrats. Leo. I don't think Leo is here. I'll give him a chance after I'm done here. But so Leo's getting his bachelor's in marketing. And the word I chose for him is a self-starter. And part of the reason I chose that is because he's finishing up his last semester right now, but has already started his own marketing business, which I think is amazing. I can't imagine starting my own business at his age, let alone before I'm done with school. So that's exactly what I think of with Leo. And even with our time together, like, he was always kind of pushing forward, always had a focus, knew what he wanted to do. So self-starter, Leo. And I don't think he's here. I'll give him a second just in case. No, okay. Nate, Nathaniel Nixon. Nate is getting his bachelor's degree in rangeland ecology and watershed management and a minor in geology. He is currently looking at trying to get a job with the U.S. Forestry Service, which I think would just be so much fun. The word that I chose for Nate is steadfast. Nate is one of the most even-keeled, like, steady people that I have ever known. He's, one of those people that you think of when you think of somebody who's very down to earth. That's kind of what I think about when I think about Nate. So, and I don't think Nate's here either. I'm pretty sure he told me he wouldn't make it. Nate, are you here? No. Okay. Erica Rivas is getting her bachelor's degree in elementary education. Her minor was early childhood ed and Spanish. The word that I chose for Erica is dedicated. I know she's looking at trying to get a job with Head Start, keeping my fingers crossed for her with that. But she, in all of our interactions with together, I've always felt that she's just got such a dedication to working with kids, especially young kids. And especially looking at getting your first job out of college in a place like Head Start, where there's extra challenges for those students, I think just shows that much more how dedicated she is to the work that she wants to do. So Erica, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I wanted to say thank you to SSS for all the events you guys put on. They were super motivating for us and a great way for us to learn and meet new students. I'm very thankful for Felicia because she's helped me a lot, not just as an advisor, but with other situations that have come along in my life. So I'm very grateful for that, and thank you.
And thank you for letting us see your little one on the camera. I think that's the first time I've actually seen her. Heard her a lot in the background. Okay, and Sierra is getting 2 bachelor's degrees as well in psychology and sociology. She'll be back graduating this fall with honors. She is currently planning on applying to some graduate programs. She's looking at working on a master's degree in mental health counseling. So we're wishing her luck there. And the word that I chose for Sierra is passionate. Sierra's another person who wants to work with young people. Currently, I think helps with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and just a real drive and passion for helping people, and compassionate in that way. I've always sensed that with Sierra as well. Just this sense of compassion and wanting to be there to help others. So Sierra, my word for you was passionate. Do you have anything that you wanted to say?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for being such a awesome resource and a role model. And I cannot thank you and SSS program enough for everything you guys have done.
Thanks, Sierra. And I believe Sierra's my last one. So I will pass it along to Gwen.
Thanks, Felicia. So I have 5 graduates with us today. I'm going to start with Joshua. He's not with us, but for Joshua, I had shared the word intentional. When arriving to UW, his intention was to pursue chemistry, but the stronger intention was to really pursue homeopathic medicine, and he is on his way next fall. So just super excited for Joshua. And moving on to my next student is Emily Brophy. Maybe. There we go. Emily is going to be graduating with a degree in psychology and minors in honors, disability studies, and early childhood education. And upon first meeting you, Emily, you were a person that just went to seek out experiences and to learn and grow as much as you possibly could. And the second thing I saw in you is that your primary focus was how you could be of assistance to others. And for all of these amazing qualities, I found you to be altruistic. And I'm excited to know that you're going to be continuing on that path and pursuing your graduate degree with that in mind to helping others. So congrats, Emily.
Thank you so much, Gwen. It has been amazing having you as my advisor for these past, oh my goodness, like 3 years, something like that. It's been a while. I'm definitely going to miss our meetings. And then just a big thank you to everyone at SSS. But again, a big thank you to you, Gwen. It's been amazing.
Thanks, Emily. I'm going to miss the fizzy updates on the cute little puppy that Emily also adopted while she was here. Moving on, Jordan. Jordan is graduating with a dance major and a minor in psychology. And when arriving to UW, as SSS advisors, we see there's a sense of pressure that just goes along with everything that's academic. And you add in the performing arts and it's a whole additional full-time job. And that's what Jordan took on. And combining this emotional, intellectual, and physical tools of college, you mix in an injury and minor, group projects, extensive rehearsals, and one just becomes exhausted thinking of all of this. But that's the product of hard work that we see in Jordan. And it's reflected in all of her performances as she shared what it really takes to put on the production of the Nutcracker. It would just make your head spin. And Jordan, I just want to thank you for demonstrating your resiliency, your work ethic, and the way that you inspire others. Thanks for your being so resilient.
Thanks, Gwen. You're absolutely like the greatest person I've met here. And you've like, first couple of years were rough, but you really helped me like just get back on track and figure out everything. And I just really appreciate you and like what you do at SSS, and just like also as like just another human to talk to about everything and just like rant, and just it's just been a really amazing time.
Thanks, Jordan. That's very kind. Our next graduate is Hannah Klein. Hannah will be graduating with speech, language, and hearing science degree. And Hannah, with your calming disposition, your interest in taking lessons learned from your own hurdles, and you cleared them, it's no wonder that you want to give back and assist others. I am so excited to see that upon completing your degree, you'll be furthering your experience by working with those who need that additional assistance of speech language support. You are thoughtful, kind, determined. Congratulations, Hannah.
Thank you, Gwen. I really appreciate you so much. And you've just helped me like every step along the way in coming to UW. And I'm beyond blessed to have had you as an advisor. And I'm glad I'll get to stick with you a little bit longer till the fall, but I just really appreciate it. And thank you to SSS for all their support and everything. I am truly grateful. So thank you.
Thanks, Hannah. I know selfishly, SSS coordinators are okay for some of our December grads because it means that we might be able to see them a little bit in the fall. Our next graduate is Hannah St. Clair. Hannah is going to be graduating with the degrees in criminal justice, sociology, and minors in honors and Spanish. And even in the first conversation, this future detective, it was obvious that, Hannah, you are a person that gets things done. A year or so ago, I remember you were sharing your weekly schedule, and you presented it with such a sense of calm that it was the same as if someone had one thing to do and had 10 days to do it. And yet this was what you were compressing in about 5 days. Your organizational skills, your critical thinking has led to opportunities that you're already being presented with graduate coursework and, you know, folding into full-time in that. Hannah St. Clair, you are resolute in your goals.
Thank you so much. I have loved being a part of SSS and getting to work with you, Gwen, and all of you. I love you all.
Thanks, Hannah. Sam Weiser. Sam's going to be graduating with a BS in molecular biology. And Sam has this incredible recall and ability to have information and details just right on the tips of his fingers. And through these past years, I really enjoyed our conversations around current job experiences and learning approaches. And Sam, what I enjoyed most was the way that you would critically think, you'd process these potential outcomes, and then arrive at a plan of action. You overcame incredible obstacles, and I look forward to seeing you continue in designing this scientific niche that you have that will ultimately help others. Congratulations, Sam.
Thank you very much. Sorry, my camera's working. I tried to fix it right before, but it didn't want to cooperate. But yeah, thank you. I mean, I don't think I could have gotten this far without the support. You know, you start off, you don't really know what you're doing. I mean, I really still don't know what I'm doing, to be honest. But we figure it out as we go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with a little help, it goes a long way.
Thanks, Sam. Yeah. As we round out these reflections, I just wanted to open the mic in case anyone else wanted to add anything, if you didn't have that chance earlier. I think Michaela may have said it best, especially as we reflect on these last 14, 15 months, is none of this went as planned. And certainly we have been able to already overcome some obstacles. The SSS staff got to listen to a presentation just over a week ago. And in that presentation, we had received some encouraging words of work ethic and what can really pay off in the long run if you apply these principles to your work ethic. And they included positive attitude, integrity, and grit, just that ability to dig down and persevere. And little did we realize that we would be really leaning on a couple of these characteristics here just to muddle through what has been this experience. And as you all leave today and finish this degree, whether it be in the next few weeks, months, or just by the end of the year, you have these amazing skills in your back pocket. Some of them are transferable skills. You have this positive attitude that has gotten you to today. You have grit that has made it through the COVID approach to coursework. You have these words of encouragement from these SSS coordinators that just found something in you that was so inspiring to them. And then truly, you are able to choose your own path, as Sean was saying, and you will be able to surround yourself with the people that will encourage you as you continue on that path. So we are beyond excited to see next steps for you. And we are just thrilled to share in just this little moment of celebration with you. So congratulations to all of our 2021 grads.